Well, hello to L, and welcome to our lesson on the volumes of spheres, cones, and pyramids. So today's learning goal, I can successfully determine the volume of spheres, cones, and pyramids when given real-world applications. Now, this is the formula for the volume of a pyramid. But we don't really even have to look and memorize formulas. We just have to understand that the volume of a pyramid is very much related to the volume of a prism. And we learned the volume of the prism, or we recapped the volume of the prism yesterday. And now we're going to see that the volume of a pyramid can be found if we just find the volume of the prism that it would fit inside, and then we divide it by 3. That's what this 1/3 here is. That means that 3 of these prisms, or sorry, 3 of these pyramids could fit inside the box that is a prism. So that's the way we're actually going to find this. We're going to use that formula, but the formula is a little bit like we don't have to be to memorize that formula. We just have to find the volume of the prism that it would fit in and then divide it by 3. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the volume is length times width times height, and then we divide it by 3. Now that looks a little bit different than the way it's written over here. This says it's the volume, it's the area of the base. This B says we find the area of the base, but that's just this length times width. And then we multiply it by the height, which is this thing. And then we take 1/3 of it, which is exactly the same as dividing by 3. So we're going to look at it a couple of different ways here. I'm going to clean this up a little. So length times width times height divided by 3. So in this case, the length and width on the bottom, the area of the base, is 10 times 6. And then the height goes straight up the middle to the tip top there is 6. And then we divide it by 3. Well, 10 times 6 is 60, and then times 6 is 360. And then we have to divide that by 3. This means division here, this line that's underneath it. And 360 divided by 3 is 120. Now remember, we're dealing with volume, so when I write down my inches, I got to give it the 3rd dimension. Now, the same with the volume of a cone. It's like a cylinder. I can draw a cylinder around here, and the cone fits perfectly inside that cylinder. And again, it's 1/3 of that cylinder. So if you take a look, this was the formula we took yesterday on how to find the volume of a cylinder. Now we're just going to take 1/3 of that. And remember that taking 1/3 of it means dividing by 3. So I'm going to do that. Here's how we found the volume of a cylinder. We did the base, pi r squared, which was the circle on the bottom. Then we times it by the height. And now since it comes to a point, we're going to divide that by 3. So we're going to do 3.14 times the radius is 5.7 times 5.7. Remember, that's what r squared means, the radius times itself, and times 12 for the height. And then we're going to divide all that by 3. Now I'm not going to do that one in my head. I'm going to pull up my handy dandy calculator for that one. And let's clear that off. And let's type in 3.14. Whoops, that's not a 4. Back. Whoops. 3.14 times 5.7 times 5.7 times 12 equals, and now I have to take that answer and divide it by 3. So divide by 3. And we got 408 approximately. So we'll say equals 408, and it's cubic centimeters. Remember, when we're talking about volume, it's 3-dimensional. Now we're going to go to the sphere. A sphere has this funny volume here. It's not quite related to anything that we've seen before. It's 4/3 pi r cubed. And the way we're going to type that into the calculator, we're going to go 4 times pi, that's not a pi, times pi, times, now r cubed means r times r times r. And then when we're done, we're going to deal with this 3 on the bottom here. So here's our radius, and remember, if you're given a diameter, you have to use half of that. The radius here is 9, so we're going to go volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed, but here's how we're going to write it down. 4 times pi, which is 3.14, times 9 times 9 times 9, divided by 3. Now when I punch that into my calculator, I'm going to show you a button on here that might be useful. So we'll clear this out. We're going to go 4 times 3.14 times 9. Now instead of doing 2 more times 9s, I'm going to use this button right here. It has an x to the y. That's going to let me put a little 3 up here so I can use it as cubed. That means multiply by 9 3 times. So I'm going to do that and then put a 3. So see how it puts a little 3 up there? You might be able to find that button on your calculator. If you don't have a calculator with that button, you can just type in 9 times 9 times 9. I'm going to hit equals, and then this gets divided by the 3 that's on the bottom. So divided by 3. So 3052 approximately. Now put a dot over top of there to mean approximately. I should have done it up here too. And oh, I forgot what that was. 3052. So 3052, and this is in centimeters, so centimeters cubed. And that's our lesson for the day.